Hey, bitch. Ooh, I've come in strong. I've come in very strong for such a gentle person. Hello, you, looking glowing as ever. Welcome to episode 1 of I've Had a Rosé, Let's Talk About Feelings with me, Sam Lake. This is very exciting. This is the first actual full episode. Last week I put out just a little snippet, a little trailer, and sort of showcased, I guess, the branding of this little adventure of mine. And I have to say a big thank you to everybody who messaged me to say how much they loved all of the trailer and the imagery. It's very gay. It's been described as in many different fashions. People have said it's reminding them of a jizzy champagne. Well, that's a good drag name, Jizzy Champagne. That's a good one. I actually thought of a new drag name, which I thought would be quite good, which would be Tori Manu One. Tori Manu One. You can have that if you like. Go for it. Although you don't probably want your first name to be Tori right now. That's just going to lead to unnecessary abuse, probably. But again, a big thank you to everyone who said that they really liked the branding and really got it. People have described it as a mood or a vibe. Just call me Ann Summers because I'm just dealing straight vibes, okay? Actually, Ann Summers, trying to get a vibe from them, actually incredibly difficult. If you've ever gone into Ann Summers to try and buy a vibrator, they make you look at 6 before you actually buy one. And most of the time you're too embarrassed and you just walk in and pretend that you only went in for batteries. And then you have to be like, oh, do you not sell them separately? Fine, I'll take a jumbo clip pounder. Take a jumbo clip pounder. Again, good drag name. Jumbo clip pounder. It's very graphic, this preamble, or pre-samble, as I'm going to call them. You're welcome. Also, a very interesting development in this podcast. Somehow it's fallen into the hands of 17-year-olds. Don't know how that happened. I think it was the mention of the OnlyFans. 17-year-olds are very thirsty. You know, they've got all those hormones and that's a lot to deal with. So, we're just going to have to accept that this is now a family show, which is why I've only said jumbo clip pounder 4 times. Anyway, this is just a little pre-sample. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sure you are here to listen to today's wonderful guest, the first guest of I've Had a Rosé, and I couldn't have asked for a more lovely guest. She's a very close friend of mine. She's one of my favourite. She's just one of my favourites. I am, of course, talking about the wonderful Chloe Petts. And this episode, this chat that we have, is not only very insightful and I think very relatable, it's also very giggly at the beginning. It is also very camp, which is very much the brand of myself and of Chloe. So really, you're just in for an oral treat, a very nice oral treat for your ears to enjoy, either at home or whilst you're doing the chores, or maybe you're on a commute. Maybe you're on a commute. I don't know when you're listening to this to. Maybe you're allowed to go outside now. I can't wait for you to listen to this episode. So many hilarious moments and really just like nice points made by Chloe. And I'm also there, as you'll hear. Was a lovely episode to record. I will speak to you in a bit because there will be a little interval where we'll hear from one of our sponsors. That's right, we got a sponsor for this bad boy. That's right, she's a boss-ass bitch. She's a bitch and a boss-ass bitch. And then I will catch up with you all at the end just to make sure you're all okay. And there'll be a quick survey to fill out. And then you can help yourself to tea and biscuits on the way out. Okay? Without further ado, here is the wonderful Chloe Petts. Everyone who's listening, please welcome the wonderful, the hilarious, the lovely and lemon-scented Chloe Petts.
Hi, thanks for knowing that I'm lemon-scented.
I make it a priority to know how all of my guests smell.
Oh, fantastic.
And you reek of citrus.
Really? Is it just chucking
Yeah.
up off me?
It's just, you just spaff off just a right lemon rind.
Oh, lovely.
How are you, babes?
Babes, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
sort of like we're on the cusp of lockdown again, aren't we? Tier two, and it's just a
yeah.
shame. It's just a real shame.
Tier two, tier me. Yeah. That's a
Uh,
terrible Chuckle Brothers joke, but
oh right. Tearing to tearing me.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels worse than the first lockdown, doesn't it? Because it's like, oh, I don't want to have to do this all again, and then equally we're in this sort of like liminal hinterland where no one really knows what's happening, so all feels a bit sort of out of everyone's control.
Yeah. Do you not feel any comfort knowing that you went through this once, thus you could probably get through it again?
Yeah, I just think it will be different because it won't be as clear of like, let's all just sit at home for the good of the
Yeah.
nation. It's kind of like, well, I still have to go to the cafe to work, and then can I go and see my friends? I don't know.
It's very confusing, isn't it?
It is confusing, but I'm being bleak. On the whole, I'm absolutely fine, and it will be okay.
Okay. You heard it here first. Chloe Petts on record as saying coronavirus not a big deal.
No big deal. Everyone just
No
chill
big deal.
out. Calm
Everyone
down.
just calm down, babes. Just sit back, have a coffee. It's
Just sit back,
fine.
relax, and get over it. It's a global pandemic.
Yeah. Global pandemic, not like a global demic. Don't make it about yourself.
God, you're really working up the catchphrases, aren't you?
Firing off the one-liners.
Cheer me to you. It's not a global pandemic, it's a global demic. You bitch.
Oh, it's just sometimes my talent just makes me speechless.
Do you know what happened as well? I was really like giggly and in a great mood before the podcast. As soon as you hit record, I was like, well, let's get morose.
That's ruined. Oh no,
dear.
we're back. The giggles are coming back. There she is.
I'm here.
So babes, this is a podcast all about how we as humans engage with our truest feelings and emotions. And the
Uh,
first question I like to ask all of my guests is, do you consider yourself an emotional person?
yeah, incredibly emotional. I'm totes emosh. Do you consider me to be an emotional person as one of my closest friends?
It really depends on what the subject at hand is, because I think you're very emotional when it comes to football.
Yes.
And I think I don't know if you're visually very emotional. You maybe harbor a lot of emotions, but you're
I
very calm about expressing them, more like explaining them through to other people.
Yeah, I think that is true. I am like, I would say, incredibly emotional, and I've had to sort of like work on my internal emotional landscape, as we all have. Um,
Yes.
that's not revolutionary to say, but I feel like in my early 20s, I have all of my um emotions would sort of like homogenize and manifest as panic. So if I got extremely happy, I'd just be like, "Ah!" And if I got extremely sad, I'd be like, "Ah!" Because I didn't know how to handle the extremity of the emotion.
Do you actually make that noise?
Sometimes, yeah. And
That would be a nightmare for anyone around you.
well, babes, this is the thing. Well, do I want to say this on a podcast? Yeah,
I can edit it out if you don't want it.
no. I think it's fine to say like,
You started coronavirus.
I started coronavirus through
Yeah.
sheer intensity of emotion. I went to see Les Mis. I, I shat out a cry. Coronavirus came out came out as overspill. If I was experiencing extreme emotion, I wouldn't know how to process that emotion, and then I would feel like, I think I would panic that I would like overburden the people around me with that emotion. So I
Mm,
would get very red in the face and very hot and very panicked. And then I would have to
right.
like run to a bathroom, like sort of panic a bit, usually like do a terrible shit. Or,
Oh, now that I do know.
do you know what I mean?
we've discussed like very uncomfortable shits many a time.
But yeah, and then I would sort of like be able to calm down and sort of like go back into a situation. But I think I'm much better now at like A, not being able to like process the emotion, and also B, not feel super burdensome that when I show that emotion to someone else, they're not going to be like freaked out by it.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but is that for? Would you say that you experience that panic no matter what the emotion is, whether it's happiness or sadness? It's anywhere on the spectrum.
No, I think it's probably more the negative emotions. I think like I feel
Okay.
quite comfortable sharing the quotation mark um good feelings with other people because you don't feel like you're being burdensome.
Yes,
Whereas like
I understand.
when
There's a
you have
sense
a
of guilt. Yeah.
yeah, when you have a negative one, it's like, oh god, I couldn't possibly put this on someone else.
Yeah.
How dare I?
You stupid
I'm a
bitch.
I'm a whore. I'm a terrible whore. But do you know what I mean, babes? Does that make
I
sense?
Babes, I hear what you're saying, I really do, and I think a lot of people would process their emotion that way. It's interesting you sort of like talk about it in a way of like as we're in a pandemic, you're sort of in a panic-demic where you can I can't stop. I can't stop.
But the thing is, that one was actually quite good.
That one I quite
It
enjoyed.
was
I'll edit
better
out the
than
rest.
Demic.
Yeah. But it's interesting that it sounds like your emotional state is heavily influenced by other people. Do you think that's fair to say?
It's probably not that my emotional state is influenced by other people. It's probably how I then process those emotions.
Mm,
I do it in relation to other people
yeah.
because of that feeling like you're overburdening someone when actually like I just have to remember that the people that I care about want to be a part of that emotional
Yeah.
process and want to support me in exactly the same way that when they're having extreme emotions I want to support them and process, and I never feel like it's a burden or something
Yeah.
that I don't want to deal with. And also I think we, culturally, in the circles that we hang in, and also specifically my friendship group, have got a lot better at saying when we don't have the emotional energy to cope with someone else's emotional energy.
Yes.
So
That's
just
very true.
it's going
Yeah.
like, babes, like I'm really sorry you're going through this at the moment, but I'm going through something at the moment, or like this triggers me
Yeah.
or something. I can't handle it
That's
right now.
And I love that you use the word triggers because that actually leads me on to the next question.
What triggers
Um,
you?
what triggers you? Well, not necessarily triggers for like being triggered, but have you noticed there are any like things in life that make you particularly emotional?
Yeah, 100%. I'm really, as you say, like football, I'm really susceptible to like group settings where you have a somewhat like religious experience.
Okay, are you comparing football, going to see the football, to going to see the Jesus?
I am comparing going to see football, just going to see Gabriel Jesus. That's a football joke. You wouldn't get it.
Yes, I would. He does a football.
He does do one. He does one football every week.
Yeah.
Sometimes two footballs.
Oh, he is keen, isn't he?
Yeah, Jesus is king.
Wait, what team does he play for? Can I guess it?
Yeah, go on.
Uh, is
Oh
it?
god,
Is
no!
it?
Wait! Think about it properly, because if you get it, I'm gonna lose my shit.
I was going to say Man U.
Oh no, it's Man City. I thought you were gonna say
Oh,
Man City.
fuck's sake! Why do they have two teams? Why can't they just see eye to eye and join forces and just put their differences aside and just be one Manchester?
Manchester United.
Yes, sir.
um,
Football so anyway, yes. So football
I
is
don't,
a religious
but it
experience for
is.
you.
Don't you think it's like a religious experience? It's exactly the same thing. You all walk in somewhere wearing like the same thing, and
Yeah,
then you chant, and
you sure
you
do.
like you use music to get yourself to like these sort of like heady. I think that's a really religious experience. It
Does someone who at a football game is like the vicar or the priest or the leader of
probably
the sermon?
interesting. Maybe the managers of the team.
Really?
Um,
Like Jose on the side, just bringing everyone to church.
Yeah, take me to church.
Yeah.
Hosea.
I was thinking when I was thinking about editing this podcast if I should like beep out any swears, and now I think I might just beep out all of the shit puns that we're coming up with.
Please.
But yes, I would agree that football does make you incredibly emotional, and I have tried my best to understand, even just at like a factual level, like the basics, trying to understand. And I think the closest I've come is when I correctly guessed that the tree on The Masked Singer was my favourite footballer, Teddy Sheringham, who I am still convinced is a professional player to this day.
I mean,
He's one.
I think he was the oldest player to have ever played in the Premier League. So it's not outside the realms of possibility that as a 50-year-old man, he's still just knocking about.
Well, I remember, because sometimes what I do with you is if I see a round on TV game show Tenable that I think you would love, I send you a picture of it and let you guess it.
Which is
And
lovely.
I remember sending you the one where it was top 10 Premier League players of all time, and there was one that you couldn't get, and I guessed that it was Teddy Sheringham, and then I sent you a picture saying it was only bloody Teddy Sheringham. Sorry, I just called him Terry.
Terry Shedingham.
Terry Shedingham. But is it not? How do they work out who are the top 10 players? Is it just
I
like
think you've
most?
misremembered the question, wasn't it? The top 10 Premier League goal scorers of all time.
Chloe, you're a very close friend to me, but I need to tell you that I will not be gaslit on my own podcast. You could be right though. It was in my when I read it, it literally could have just said top 10 footballs, and then all of the answers would apply. It would be Teddy Sheringham,
Michael Owen.
Yeah, the 2002 World Cup in South Korea / Japan, and the corner flag.
It was the corner flag.
The corner flag. I would never think of football as such a religious experience. I think I've been to one football match in my entire life.
Obviously, like I used to go to church in the ages of 16 and 17. And I think that I was particularly susceptible to that kind of messaging because it's very like emotive, and like lots of sort of the New Testament Bible narratives are like really, really fucking tap into something I don't like, just really emotional. And the music would really get me and sort of stir me. And then I remember these like weird times where people would pray over me, and it's like I don't believe in God anymore, but like I would have really extreme physical reactions, the way that you might have if you sort of do a really good meditation or something.
Right.
And so I think I'm really susceptible to it, and football kind of functions as that in my life now, of like this release of energy where like I just feel things in my body. And the other time that I get it is watching musicals. I find musicals really fucking emotive.
You so do.
And when you religion and musicals, Jesus Christ Superstar, I am somewhere else, Sam. It takes
you
me.
would just froth up, I imagine.
I froth at the mouth and every other orifice.
Oh
God.
Frothy pets. That's what... that is actually so fascinating to think. As a younger person, you were more into religion. What religion was it?
I was trying to do a joke, but I couldn't think of one.
Just one of the religions.
Just one of the religions, babes. Church of England.
Church of England.
Yeah.
A big fan of the pod. Shout out to Church of England. It's so interesting that you were so into religion, and then in later life, it's the way you describe it just then was almost like you found something to replace the feelings that you got in church in that setting. And especially because the people praying over you as well, do you feel that in a football stadium where instead of people praying over you, they're praying over the team?
Yeah, almost, I guess. I've never had like I've never had as like transcendent as experience as when like people prayed over me in church. Like Sam, it
Mm,
was fucking mental, and I don't want to sound like a crazy person because I don't believe that it came from God. I believe that it came from like some weird human thing that we can do. But like
right.
when they prayed over me, I got into this like fucking frenzy, and it was like again I went really hot and like started shaking, and then I just started speaking and I couldn't control the words that were coming out of my mouth, and every time I tried to stop I couldn't.
Literally speaking in tongues like they do on those. You see like a viral video every now and again of someone like being healed by a faith healer, or someone like having the spirit of God put into them, and then you see them almost like have like a spasm, and
Yeah,
when they try to speak it's all in tongues, and like everyone sort of like it produces that reaction differently, but it's all sort of like these almost involuntary reactions. Is that what you're
that is
describing?
what I'm describing. And like again, like I want to emphasize I don't think I'm a mental person, and I don't think that it comes from like some external holy patriarchal god whatever, but I do think that the human body can like do extreme things when you put it in like an extreme emotional circumstance.
Yeah. Well, knowing that now, I feel so glad that you have Crystal Palace in your life.
Does it mean that
Also,
you can tolerate me talking a bit more about them?
absolutely.
Oh,
Well, I've
at least
I've
close
always
up
been
for
able to
about God.
tolerate it. Normally, what will happen is we'll be on a train or like waiting to go on stage at a gig. You'll tell me about Crystal Palace as you have somehow convinced me to give you a calf massage at the same time. And sometimes I'll even be like, right, I'm done with that one. I better do the other one, otherwise we'll be off balance.
for,
Oh.
for context, I don't know what it is, Sam. Like I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like you just do what I say sometimes. So one day I just went to Sam before a gig. Oh, Sam, babes, will you give me a pre-gig calf massage? And he was like, "Sure, babes."
Mm,
And now
yeah.
it's become a ritual.
I'm not sure why I agreed to do it, but then by the same token flip of the coin, I don't know why I wouldn't do it. You've got a tight calf, and I've got two hands that only want to heal. So
See, do you know what? This is very biblical in tone. It's a ritual. You've got healing
yep,
hands.
yep.
You are Gabriel Jesus.
I am Gabriel Jesus. Welcome to I've Had a Rosé. Let's talk about feelings. Um, before we go to a quick break, Chloe,
Mm.
one of the questions I asked you pre-record was about which emotion comes to you the easiest. And I think probably anyone who's listening to this right now could probably gather this. But you said the emotion that's the easiest to come to you is happiness, which I think is very joyful. And I would describe you as a very happy person.
Hmm.
Um, why do you think it is that happiness is the easiest emotion for you to to bring on? Because at the beginning we were talking about like how in a group setting it's easier to give into those negative emotions that create the panic,
Mm.
but happiness is the emotion that you can feel the easiest.
I think that I am a person that wants to like enjoy my life to the fullest and live my life to the fullest, and also like project happiness into the lives of my friends. But I also draw so much happiness from my friends. So I
Yeah.
think that like when something good happens, like I read a good book, or Crystal Palace win, or I hear some good news about you, or you tell a funny joke, then I just kind of brim with like like happiness and
Mm.
excitement that I'm alive and I get to sort of experience these things.
Wow, my jokes do that to you.
Yeah, babes. Oh no,
Oh,
I can't. I
babes.
can't say the one that made me happiest.
It's not well, I mean, okay, that makes it sound like when we're not doing incredible podcasts, Chloe and I just tell each other the most offensive jokes. It's not
It's not
it's not
offensive.
offensive.
It's just about someone.
it's about someone and we can't say who.
We would never do an offensive. Well,
Well,
Um,
we've grown as people.
we've grown as
um,
people. But I think that all I will say about that joke is that for the listener at home, it's the most one. It's probably equal the most I've ever laughed in my life, and it became painful when I started hyperventilating on the tube, and started
yeah.
having to apologise to other travellers because I was making such a scene with my laughter that I felt very guilty that I was sort of imposing that upon them.
And I think that ties up beautifully with you wanting people to experience the happiness and your cup brimmeth over.
Oh,
That's a lovely example of that. Also, I will add, I can't remember who said this, but it was after a gig, and someone was trying to explain how if anyone who's listening hasn't seen Chloe perform live, they should. It's a wonderful experience. And
oh.
someone was babes, you know I'd say that. I'd say that anytime. I'd say, Chloe, what's you like on stage? I say, you can have a lovely time. Um, but someone was trying to explain how you walk onto the stage and then instantly there is just like this sort of energy in the room that is very like, oh, I'm now here for a good time. There's an energy in the room where it's like it feels bouncy and joyful and delicious. And someone was trying to establish how you're able to do that. And it's either because of what we've just been talking about, how you love to how when you brim over and you just want other people to experience that happiness, which is very true. But then I think the other reason was that whenever you walk on a stage, you tend to put both arms above your heads, which indicates to people that like they need to pay attention in the same way you have to pay attention to
Like
like
a
cabin
Roman
crew.
emperor.
But I think I would definitely say happiness and sharing of the joy is definitely part of your brand.
Oh,
So
thank you so much, Sam. That's a lovely thing to say.
oh, you're so welcome. And on that positive note, we're just going to take a quick break there to hear from one of our wonderful sponsors. We'll be right back with you. You know, guys, getting a stool sample processed isn't always as fun as it used to be. That's why I'm happy to announce this week's sponsor, the good people at Stool Runnings. Stool Runnings are the first, only, and therefore top-rated fecal matter delivery service in the UK, perfect for medicinal or recreational use. Simply put your sample into one of our mostly resealable bags, and one of our stool runners will be along to collect it and transport it to wherever it needs to go. And they won't ask those personal questions that other courier services might ask. Questions like, is there poo in this bag? Or why is this bag so heavy? And listeners of I've Had a Rosé get an extra special treat. Simply use the offer code ROSÉ at checkout to get 20% off your first 5 kilos. That's 20% off your first 5 kilos using the offer code ROSÉ. Enjoy, and now back to the episode. And we're back here with the wonderful Chloe Petts.
Wow.
She's amazed at her own presence. Chloe, we've been having a lovely chat about emotions and how you experience them. And I would like to know if there's ever been a time that you would say you have gotten too emotional.
Oh, Sam, that's a lovely question.
Isn't it just? Now, again, this is one of the questions that I ask people before the record, and
I
it ties
forgot.
into what you said before the break, about how musicals do bring out a certain emotion
That's
in you.
such a good clue to remind me what I wrote.
Yeah.
So
Do you remember what it is?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So I go to the cinema a lot and I cry at the cinema a lot. I think it's such a liberating experience. I think there's a theme to my emotions. I just go somewhere where I can be anonymous and just let them out in
And
one go.
there's some kind of activity or uh, performance happening in front of you as well, be it sport related or theatrical.
Yeah, it just has to get me going, you know. And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
once it does, it won't stop. So I went to see. Are we talking about Les Mis? Oh no, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you my three. Well, my three top times that I've cried most at the cinema. Top three.
Okay, I'll just make this a 2 hour long podcast. That's fine.
Number one, most I
Yeah.
ever cried. Mamma Mia 2. Here we go
The
again.
second
Mamma
one.
Mia, here we go again. Yeah, I was in a weird place where like I was feeling totes emotion about my mum, and then Meryl Streep died, and I was just like, this is too much. Like,
And your mum is Meryl Streep,
my
and it
mum
was
is
very
Meryl
sad.
Streep.
Yeah, yeah.
She's a terrible whore that had sex with 3 men. I can't believe it. Anyway, Mamma Mia, here we go again. Number
Yeah.
two, Les Miserables. Number three, and to my
Mhm.
shame, 12 Years a Slave.
Is that a musical?
No. They don't have to be musicals.
Oh.
Can you imagine 12 Years a Slave the musical? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Someone will make it. Someone will make it in like 30
Possibly.
years, I think.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So I
Mm.
cried. I cried so hard at that my mum got exasperated and was like, "Just go and have a shower. Just go and get in the shower." And yeah, I
Get
think
in the shower
yeah, she was just like, go and calm down in the shower." And I don't know what I
when
don't
no
know.
one can see your tears.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, what's the tears? What's the shower?
Mm.
And I think that like denotes me as well, like where I just can't stop. Like once I'm at an emotion, I find it really hard to come down from the emotion.
That's interesting. And it again, that could be for any emotion.
Yeah. Once I'm there, I find it hard to come down from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why like I don't know, and then I just feel like I'm being annoying because like I'm rehashing the same emotion to my friends and being like, "This is how I feel. Reassure me, help me."
Everything you're saying sounds correct. We do find it very annoying. This isn't therapy, Chloe. But I think uh, that's a natural human response sometimes when I think no matter what the emotion is, because it could be a good one or a bad one. If someone isn't vibing the same way with it, you can feel a bit overbearing, and it's sort of like that all eyes in the room are on me and I don't like it
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Because I get it when I can be very prideful about the tiniest of things. So it could be like a joke that I tell you that makes you piss yourself on the tube. Um, it could be like, oh, I had a nice gig, or it could be, I beat a level on Crash Bandicoot that I've been trying to beat for ages.
Yeah.
And then I'll go over to David, and he he's happy for me, but he can't possibly replicate the same level of emotion that I'm on right
Do
now.
you need him
But
to though?
but that's the thing. I don't think I need him to. I just he just understands that this shall dissipate and I will return back to normal levels at some point. And I think good friend or loved one in your life will be able to do that for you as well. Like if they hear Chloe going no, and they'll be like, well, she's either happy or sad or in a panic, but we can deal with either one of those situations.
Yeah.
That's just how we have to that's just our pet's management system. So
Yeah.
I do think that it's just that sort of like uncomfortable feeling of like, oh, I'm experiencing the emotion, but I don't see anyone around me experiencing it the same way.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something wrong with me. But really, everyone experiences these things differently. So what triggers that reaction in you might not do the same thing for somebody else.
But
It does,
yeah.
and it does take time to work out that language, of course, even if it's your mum or someone who's been a part of your life since you were born.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think it's you you have to go through a process in your early to mid to late 20s, whatever, whenever really, where you realize that the ways that you've always done things aren't necessarily the only way that things need to be done. So I think I
Yeah.
went through a big process in my early 20s where I was like, okay, yep, I experience emotion in this way because I think I need to like closet it off because I've been told that you can only impose your emotion on someone for a certain amount of time. And then when I
Sure.
realized, actually, maybe that's not the objective truth, maybe there are other ways of doing things, I think that's when I felt a bit more freed up and like I was able to sort of
Mm.
explore these things and like also make mistakes in terms of how I express emotions, and know that people that love you and care for you will make exceptions for that and still accept you regardless.
This is a segment of the show that I like to call Stick a Cork in It. And this is the part of the show where you have the opportunity, no matter who it is in life, it could be someone that you've met in real life, it could be a fictional character, maybe somebody from a musical, or a football player. This is somebody that if you saw them face to face, you would tell them to stick a cork in it and shut up. So this is the part of the show where you can indulge sort of like the more angry side of the emotional spectrum.
We love
And I
it.
wonder, Ray of Sunshine, Chloe Pets, is there anyone that comes to mind when I say, who would you tell to stick a cork in it?
Like loads of people. Can we just
Oh,
can we
fantastic.
just go through like the ones, the generic ones? Let's just say, just list them off, get them out of my brain. Donald Trump,
Get them out of the
obviously.
way. Yeah,
Katie Hopkins, Lawrence Fox,
absolutely. Yeah.
Piers Morgan, etc.,
Hmm.
etc. They would all have a cork
Yes.
sticked in them, but I'm not fucking
Oh, they
basic,
would.
so those won't be
Yeah.
my answers. Who would
Okay.
I like to stick a cork in? So I haven't thought about this for so long, but I must have been year 8 because I remember being in our form room at the end of our block. I think Miss Shrubsole was our form tutor.
Miss Shrubsole.
Shrubsole, I think that's her name.
Shout out to Miss Shrubsole. She's a big fan of the pod.
We love her. PE
Yeah.
teacher extraordinaire and form tutor
Hmm.
extraordinaire. And anyway,
Yeah.
there was this group of girls in my school that call themselves Da Rebels.
Shut up.
They call themselves Da Rebels, and they were like, sort of would do rebellious stuff like roll their skirts up a bit too high, or
They wouldn't.
yeah, put on some blusher or something. And and
Walking around with their knees out and their blush on.
they're sometimes
Slags.
it's fucking slags. And then one of the rebels I'd seen like a picture of her nephew or something,
Right.
and I just remarked like he's got quite big ears. I didn't mean it as an insult. I meant it more as like a recognition of like she said something like, "Oh, you've seen my nephew," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I think he's got quite big ears." Is that the one? And I genuinely didn't mean it as an insult. I think as a year 8, I must have like been ahead of the body positivity curve and was like, you know, you know how people don't use fat as a pejorative anymore, which is great.
Yeah.
Maybe I was
Hmm.
thinking big ears isn't a pejorative because I didn't feel like it was, but she got so
Yeah.
fucking angry at me, and she got her friend involved, and then she was like going at me, and then her friend went, um, just went under her breath to her mate. "Oh, sometimes I could wish I could just whack a chair around her head." And I was like so shocked by this that I like burst into tears, ran out of the classroom and ran to the bathroom and was like so upset because I just felt it was so unjustified that I said that a toddler had big ears, and now someone was threatening to like whack a chair around my head, you know. So hang on, I can see that I'm going to be getting a series of messages from a friend, so I'm just going to put my phone on airplane mode. So anyway, I'd like to put a cork in her, that
Sure.
year 8 bitch with her blusher and her knees out.
And a stupid big-eared nephew.
Yeah, stupid big-eared nephew.
Yeah. Maybe he's grown into his ears by now.
I think he has, if anything.
It'd be sad if they got as big with the rest of him and like maintained the ratio of ear to face.
And when he grew up, he was the BFG. um, no, I actually think she's doing quite well now. That girl, she's got a couple of kids herself, and they're quite cute, regular sized ears. Yeah, so best wishes to her. And the girl that actually threatened to whack me around the head with the chair
Yeah.
actually turned into a really nice girl, and I think she quite regretted the things she'd said when she was younger. I really enjoyed her company. I found her
Oh,
really.
that's really lovely. I love that you, again, both of our sticker cork in it stories have resulted in a beautiful and blossoming friendship.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Just so positive.
Really positive.
Really positive. Okay, Chloe, we're nearly at the end of the
Do
show,
we
so it's
have to
time.
be?
Okay, 3 more hours. Um,
I'm having a lovely time.
you have been a lovely guest,
Thank
and
you.
I would say perhaps the best guest I've ever interviewed.
I'm the first
You are the
guest. Yeah.
first and thus only. But hey, take the accolade,
Thank
put it on a
you.
poster. Um, the final question for the guest. This is going to be a quick fire round.
Oh,
And this quick fire round is called All the Feels. I'm going to give you some topics that unintentionally one of them may be connected to stuff that we have spoken about today.
can I just
Um,
ask quickly? Are
yes,
you gonna do jingles for your different sections?
there will be
Well, they're
jingles.
actually.
Yes. Yeah, much like the film There Will Be Blood. If that film were about podcasting instead of the cutthroat world of oil barons, um, then the film would be called
There
There
will
Will
be
Be
jingles.
Jingles.
I'm so
There will be
glad.
jingles.
Do you know how this one will go?
Hey, it's time to make the guests squeal, 'cause it's time for all the feels. Something like that.
I really like that.
Yeah. Do you like how I've got that rhyme in there?
Yeah, yeah. I think a jingle has to have rhyme for me, anyway.
It's gotta have got listen, I didn't mean to just spit a bar just, like, right there. I know you weren't expecting it. Um, there is all of the jingles are gonna be grime style. Like, just slew in all the roadmen. I don't know. Um, but so in all the fields, I'm gonna give you some, topics and just very quickly tell me how you feel about them, how they make you feel in your core.
Yeah,
Okay. Chloe Pets, it's time for all the feels. Crystal Palace.
amazing. The best. Sometimes tragic.
Oh. Florence Pugh.
Oh my god. I don't even know how to explain how I feel. Just lustful, regretful that she'll never be my wife, turned on, like oh.
the the boiler of emotion is already leaking. This is fantastic. TikTok.
Quite reticent. Like like a gran who has printed off some memes to send to their grandchildren, you know? Like
Yes, that's
old
very
and out of touch.
very accurate. TV presenter Ben Shepherd.
Oh, actually, really good. Yeah, he makes me feel happy. He makes me feel comfortable and safe. He used to present like this maths documentary that we were watching maths at school sometimes, and me and my friend Rach would get so excited. We'd be like, "Oh, afternoon with Ben," and so I feel like nostalgic and comforted by him.
Oh, lovely. And last one, dark chocolate.
Ew, gross! Ah! Grim
I like
though.
I like how you reacted the same way like a 13-year-old in Grange Hill would after seeing their two best friends kissing. Like, ew, mate, it's gross.
That's criminal. Yeah, I don't really like it.
No, not a fan.
Not a
The
fan.
good thing is, we are partial to a Cadbury's
We
Roundie,
love a Cadbury's
um,
Roundie.
but they are, of course, covered in milk chocolate. And I think I've seen white chocolate ones. I could be wrong.
Oh, I'll have to try them. Do you know what? There's
Yeah.
nothing worse in life than when someone goes, "Do you want a bit of chocolate?" And you're like, "Absolutely, of course I do." And then they whack out the dark, and you're like, "It's not chocolate. That's an adult snack."
It's Well, do you know what? Dark chocolate is actually more chocolate than milk chocolate, technically
Yeah,
speaking.
but go fuck that. Go fuck that out the window.
Go suck on a bit of dark chocolate, you boring cunt.
You
I
bitter,
don't.
you bitter whore.
You bitter 95% sucking, just good for nothing bitch. Because I don't like the judginess that goes along with it, where if you like say, oh, I fancy a bit of chocolate, and someone's like, oh, I've got some dark chocolate, and I'll be like, oh, thanks, I'll have a piece, but you know what, I normally prefer milk chocolate. I'll be like, yeah, the thing is, like, dark chocolate's actually really good for you. Like, it's much better for you than like chocolate. And also, just like, if you've got like the right palate for it, it's actually just like a much better taste. And like, I don't know, maybe you just have to like get used to it. Like, maybe it's just something that you like learn how to appreciate.
Wanker.
I don't know. Just such wankiness. Ugh.
Outrageous. Do you know the word? One person worse than a dark chocolate person is a cocoa nibs person.
Oh,
Because that,
cocoa nibs.
but they'll say, oh, I just get the same kick out of it as I get from chocolate. It's like, no, you fucking don't.
You absolutely
You
don't.
posturing bitch.
They will get that. They will absolutely, in the office, nibble on a bag of nibs. They'll get their nibs out for the lads, and then when they go home, they will scoff 2 packs of dairy milk but sharing bags, the same as the rest of us.
They'll swallow a roundy whole.
Won't even try and like crack the wafer in the roundy. Just like down the gullet in one swallow. Wide throated fucking scabs. Maybe this should have been the sticker cork in it segment.
Yeah,
But
we got there.
as emotions in real life, you just have to let them run their course, and that's exactly what we've done. Chloe, you have been a wonderful guest, as I knew you would be. I was so excited to have you on the pod. Have you had a lovely
You've
time?
been a wonderful host, Sam. You've made me feel at home. You've made me feel safe. You've made me feel like you're a modern day Ben Shepherd.
Could you not see me hosting Tipping Point?
I could see you hosting Tipping Point. Actually, I think you're a bit too good for Tipping Point.
Stop it.
Yeah,
What would I host?
I
Fuck
think.
it, University Challenge.
No, I think you need somewhere where it's not just about being nice and wholesome. Like, I think you need to be able to put like a bit of a little sassy joke in there somewhere.
Babe Station.
Babe, I think it's Babe Station. Yeah.
Chloe, you've been a gem and a treasure. Do you have anything that you would like to plug?
I've got nothing really to plug. Just follow me on Twitter at Chloe Pets, CHLOE, Papa Echo Tango Tango Sierra. Earlier this year, I did. Penguin did an audiobook called Edinburgh Unlocked, where I think 20 or 25 comedians contributed like 20 to 25 minutes of audio content for this like Edinburgh themed audiobook. And I did sort of like a potted version of the show that I was going to do this year, but tailored more to the audiobook form. And I would love people to listen to it if they are that way inclined.
Lovely. It's a good listen, I assume. Um, I love everything about you and everything you do. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's been really fun.
Wow. What an episode that was. Many thanks to my good pal Chloe Pets for being the first ever guest on I've Had a Rosé Let's Talk About Feelings. And I think you'll agree she was absolutely magnificent. And she's just so lovely and honest, and she's so joyful as well, and I think you can probably gather that from everything that we spoke about. And I think, even though I've known her for ages, I've even learned stuff about her. Like, for example, did you know her last name was Pets? That was new information. I have had an absolute ball putting together this first episode, and I hope you've had an equally large and hefty ball listening to it. If you enjoyed this episode, then I do encourage you to leave a review, subscribe, give me some stars. I think there is some way that you can give me money as well, but I've not quite worked that bit out yet. So just the reviews and the little things. I kind of feel like you're more likely to give me a review if I give you a topic to write about. So this week, if you're going to leave me a review, thanks in advance if you do that. That's really lovely of you. Please include in your review what type of soup you would be if you were a soup. Let's do that, shall we? And I look forward to reading all of those lovely reviews that I am definitely going to get. Or if you just want to get in touch with me, touch my fire, you can message me on any of the social medias. I am at Mr. Sam Lake across all platforms. That is MrSamLake, Mr. Sam Lake, not Mrs. Amlake. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another fantastic episode and another fantastic guest, and then every Wednesday after that, from now until I get bored. Thank you so much for letting me talk to you. I hope to give you another oral treat next week with your consent. Take care and goodbye.